huwa hasb. And that is sufficient. When we look at our brothers and sisters in Gaza, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ease your suffering. Allahumma ameen. When we look at our brothers and sisters in Gaza, wallahi al-azim, these ayat, they are literally living it. That you have brothers and sisters who are in certain parts of Palestine, that they had to stop khutbah al-Jum'ah because the cursed army were targeting them. They had to literally stop khutbah al-Jum'ah. And wallahi, the people are saying, we cannot wait to pray there again. They are saying, we cannot wait to pray there again. In Taraweeh, we've seen videos of them praying on rubble. Yet you and I, sometimes we complain because the fans are going on too fast and the message is too cold, and then an hour later, because the message is full, now it's too hot. Our brothers and sisters in Gaza, subhanallah, they are living the ayat that they are living these ayat. They are living this meaning of taqwa. Wallahi al-azim, we get so much inspiration from them. We get so much inspiration from them. Yes, they need our help, but wallahi, we need their help. How many times do we watch videos of them and you just aspire to be like them? Where the man who says in khutbah al-Jum'ah, he says, subhanAllah, one that perhaps many of us see in the post, where he says, if the life of 30,000 people didn't affect you, then what could I say that will affect you? Wa aqim as-salah. That's what he mentions. Like subhanAllah, this is the iman of our brothers and sisters, just an airplane ride. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ease your suffering. So let us be conscious of the things that we are thankful for. Let us be conscious of the things that we tell ourselves that we are grateful for. Let us be conscious of the things that we put in our mouths, the things that come out of our mouth. Let us be conscious of where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, and our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه فإنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين على حبيبنا وسيدنا ومولانا المصطفى المرتضى المجتبى محمد بن عبد الله صلوات الله عليه والسلام. And a very famous hadith, a hadith that many of us perhaps heard of, where al-Mu'mineen Aisha radiyallahu anha, she asks a question that every single one of us wants to hear. A question that we want to know the answer. And she says, and she's the one who's narrating this hadith. She says, سُئِلَ النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم. I asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أَيُّ الْأَعْمَالُ أَحَبُّ إِلَى اللَّهِ. She's not saying, أَيُّ الْأَعْمَالِ أَحَبُّ إِلَى اللَّهِ. Which of the actions are the most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? She's not saying what actions does Allah like. She's not saying, or she's not asking what's something that Allah loves. She's saying which actions are the most beloved to Allah. Meaning that it's the ceiling. Meaning that it can't go above that. And the advice or the response of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives, subhanAllah, how beautiful our messenger is. He gives advice that 1400 years later that we still benefit from. Advice that's so practical. Advice that every single one of us can do it. He says, أَدْوَمُهَا وَإِنْ قَلَّ. The ones that are small and consistent. The ones that are small but consistent. The ones that you know you can do day by day. And في رواية ثانية, in another hadith, he says, وقال أكلف من الأعمال تطيقون. Forget or drop, abstain from the actions that you cannot do. Meaning that do what you can. And it sounds so cliche, but as the saying goes, cliches are cliche for a reason. The things that we hear regular, it's for a reason. Perhaps in Ramadan, you push yourself to a new limit. And you honestly know, and be very real with yourself, that you can't keep up that same energy. Reading a juz' a day was very difficult, but alhamdulillah you did it. Perhaps you did, perhaps you had a half a juz', maybe a hizb, whatever the case may be. But maybe outside of Ramadan, you tell yourself, I can at least do a half page. Or the advice that the ulama says, even an ayah a day. They'll say, memorize an ayah a day. And we feel that we're heroes and we feel like we're too good. Our teachers say, memorize one ayah a day. And you say, no, I want to memorize 5. The sheikh's telling you, you ask him for advice, he's saying, memorize one ayah. No, sheikh, I want to do 5. Khalas, do 5. 4 months later, where are you now? Wallah, I haven't memorized anything new. Because you belittled the ayah. You belittled one ayah, and you thought that perhaps you could do a little bit more, but you couldn't even do one ayah. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the advice he's giving here is something very small, very consistent. And keep these deeds private. Keep these deeds private. Because what happens is if we're sitting in with the shabab, or we're sitting with our friends, and you hear fulan say, oh, I read a juz' today, and then you say, I read my 3 ayat today, and then you hear them say, oh, I read a juz', perhaps you may feel slightly unmotivated, so it may stop, may Allah protect us, or maybe that will encourage you to do more. But keep them private so that what you know, it's only between you and Allah. There should be deeds that only you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. One of our teachers, he said that he was from the subcontinent, meaning India or Pakistan, an area where there are a lot of ulama, a lot of scholars. And he says that his teacher, I believe it was in India or Pakistan, one of those countries. He says that when he passed away, there was a community that would go to him and ask where or what happened to so-and-so. So the family of the great sheikh, they said, oh, he had passed away. And then they're asking, subhanAllah, this family has never seen these people before. They're like, who are you guys asking questions? And this family is saying, this sheikh used to provide our daily meals for us. So much so, and it was families. So much so that his wife, his children, his siblings, they had no clue. And he did it for years. An action between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that even his own loved ones did not know. Something just between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of our teachers even mentioned that even when you fast outside of Ramadan, the hope is that as a community we fasting in Ramadan, but even outside of Ramadan when you're fasting or whatnot, try to even keep that as a secret. SubhanAllah, I watched one of our teachers when someone offered him a piece of chocolate. It was it was a fancy chocolate. He gave it to him, and I remember the sheikh made so much dua for him and he just put it in his pocket. And it was a small things that we witnessed as students, but a few hours later at Salat al-Maghrib, we seen him pull it out and break his fast with it. Like subhanAllah, at that moment he didn't feel the need to tell everyone in the world that he was, no. Keep some things private between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as we wrap up the khutbah here, we'll share a few things, just a few things that we can remember to do throughout the month, throughout the year until we approach another Ramadan, if Allah allows us to do so. Number 1 is continue where you left off Ramadan. If you didn't finish your khatam, finish it now. If you feel that you started the series and you didn't finish it now. If you feel that you started memorizing or reviewing Juz' Amma and you feel like you're still making mistakes in Surah Al-Mutaffif, that's okay. Do it now. Continue where you left off. Number 2, and subhanAllah, I believe we still have enough days. If you can, push yourselves to fast the days of Shawwal. The Prophet ﷺ in the hadith regarding the days of Shawwal, the one who fasts the 6 days, and it's any 6 days of Shawwal, not immediately after Ramadan, because if that's the case then we all would have failed, but it's any 6 days of this month. Push yourself to because if we were people who regularly fasted Shawwal, it's as if we fasted our entire lives, because the reward of the one who fasts the 6 days of Shawwal as if they fasted the entire year. Allahu Akbar. And what a lot of people do is they stack their sunnah. Mondays and Thursdays, the 3 white days have passed. But push yourself if you can. Number 3 is keep your tongues moist with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Keep your tongues moist with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Say your adhkar. One of the shabab, in our little friend group, he was telling us that he keeps a masbaha right next to the lever for the windshield wipers. And he says his car is one of those push to starts. So whenever he pushes to start the car, he feels a masbaha. So immediately he's encouraged as he's driving, he's holding the masbaha. Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh, astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh, astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh. Something so small, but something so beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as the famous hadith goes, perhaps one of my favorite hadith ever, is where the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, كلمتان حبيبتان إلى الرحمن خفيفتان على اللسان ثقيلتان في الميزان حبيبتان إلى الرحمن. What are these two words? Subhanallah wa bihamdih, Subhanallah al-Azim. It's what translated as two words, two phrases that are so light on the tongue, yet so heavy on the scale, that is the most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is two phrases. Subhanallah wa bihamdih, Subhanallah al-Azim. And in another narration, the one who says Subhanallah al-Azim 100 times in a day, they will have their sins erased as much as the foam in an ocean. And if you've ever seen, we have the Great Lakes here in Michigan, but if you've ever gone to the ocean, you would see. And number 4 is stay attached to the masajid. Stay attached to the masajid. Outside of Jum'ah, the hope is that we're praying Jum'ah regularly. But outside of Jum'ah, make sure that you're trying to at least get one salah, one prayer a day in the masjid. And if you missed it, double up the next day. If you missed it on one day, double up on the next day. No doubt, life happens. You may get pulled into a meeting. Finals week is actually going on right now. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ease the exams of our students. But hey, push yourself. And number 5, sign up for that course. Enroll in the halaqah. Listen to that YouTube series, that one that you've been saying you were going to do for a while. So many of us say, oh, I'm going to sajjal for tilawat al-Quran, or I'm going to register for so-and-so, or I'm going to do this. Do it. Wallahi, do it before it's too late. Do it before it's too late. One day a week. Do 1 day a week, 1 hour a week, a half hour a week. And from now until the next Ramadan, you will see how much better that you got. If we got 1% better, this is a saying that they say in football, in sports. If you get 1% better every single day, this time next year, you just got better by 365%. It's a 1% rule, just a little bit, step by step every day. And then lastly, as we close the khutbah, an opportunity has presented itself to help this particular masjid in this community. As many of you guys know, the masjid has recently bought an old church here, and they are transforming it into a funeral home. Right? They are transforming it into a funeral home, an area where our community, subhanAllah, this masjid, where there's a janazah every single day, an opportunity for our community to have an area where we can wash the bodies of our loved ones and the people in our communities, and who knows, perhaps it's the community that's going to be washing our bodies in that same center. Try your absolute best to contribute. The current project is they are currently tiling the facility. The cost of the entire project is $60,000. Alhamdulillah, there was a brother who passed away. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant him the highest of the Jannah, Ahmed al-Mushaynish, who donated $24,000. Allahumma barik. The remaining balance is a little less than $36,000, $35,500. That's the remaining balance. If you can, a few dollars, donate on behalf of your loved one, donate on your behalf, on behalf of whatever the case may be. Because wallahi al-azim, we do not know if we will be washing our loved one in that facility, or if our loved ones will be washing our bodies in that facility. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a glad ending. Allahumma hdina fi man hadayt, wa afina fi man afayt, wa tawallana fi man tawallayt, wa barik lana fi man a'tayt. يا مقلب القلوب والأبصار ثبت قلوبنا على دينك يا مقلب القلوب والأبصار ثبت قلوبنا على دينك اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وأقيم الصلاة